All right. A question for the boys. 3 years ago, I was given access to my stocks that were previously under a custodian account. Since then, I have spent $375,000 in 3 years.
I know where 300,000 went to.
I only have 150,000 left, right? So he started with almost 500 grand.
Jesus.
Or over 500 grand. Anyway, this was supposed to be for my retirement. I have told no one else about how I have spent. My grandmother and parents think I have actually made better investments with them and earned money instead of blowing it. I read that correctly. He didn't write it well. Before you ask, I spent it on nonsense. Rent, a new car, a trip to Europe, etc. How do I possibly explain this to my family without being seen as a piece of shit? My parents asked me for money a few times, but I told them I needed it for retirement, even though I was just buying random things. So he had over 500 grand. He spent almost 400 grand.
Why was the stocks in a custodian account?
And why were the parents turned 18 or 21 or
right? But I'm saying, so somebody had to put them in the account. Usually that's traditionally the parents, right? So the parents are now asking him for money, right? A couple times, or did ask him for money a couple times.
I'm filling in some gaps here, but my guess is that the grandparents gave some money to the grandkids.
Got it.
And mom and dad are like, "Hey, can I have some of that money?" And he's like, "I need it for retirement." But really, he's just blowing it on hookers and cars.
Yeah,
that's right.
How old is he again?
He didn't say, but since 3 years ago he got access to his account,
21.
He might be 21 or 24
so
now.
You're probably very young with like $175,000 left. Is that about right?
Fucking sounds great, dude. You're off to a good start.
Yeah, you're in a great place.
Yeah. All right. So look, things could be going way worse. None of us here started out at 18 with $175,000. Okay, that would have been such a wonderful thing to like not worry about anything for the time in your life where you've got to like learn shit and get your stuff together and make like connections with people. You're fine. You're okay. You did a big whoopsie by throwing away $350,000. But the key here is to turn that into a lesson and to make $350,000 a very cheap price to pay for that lesson by applying what you've learned here to the rest of your life. You're so young that this is a good thing, not a bad thing. As far as your parents go, we're going to lie to them. You tied that money up in long-term investments. If you have to lie and make it seem that, I thought CDs were the thing. Everyone always said, I put it in a 20. They're in a 10-year
Put it in
CD.
a 60-year CD.
No, tell them you threw into a SEP IRA and you literally can't touch that till you're 60. Sorry. And ta-da. Here's a problem.
Get them off your back about that because A, that's your money. B, it's none of their business how you spend your money. C, you're a decent enough, smart enough guy to know you fucked up. Now, you want to make sure you're a $50 patron, first of all, because that's going to allow you access to the Discord where you can just private message me about like where you want to go from here.
Yeah,
that's
for a reasonable price.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I charge per hour, but you can afford it, man. Look, you're young, you got $150,000.
Yeah, don't be stingy now.
If you give me $50 a month, I will explain to you how a fool and his money are easily parted.
If you give me, look, I'll say this: until that custodian released that money, you had $500,000. How about a new custodian? How about I hang on to this $150,000 and I see what I can do with it for a while? And you come and we touch base again in a year or two, and we
won't do worse.
I did this with my RuneScape account. He was supposed to boost my archery level. Never got that account back, so I'm
just got taken for a ride on RuneScape.
I will never forget that.
How old were you?
6th grade, and gave it to a 7th grader, and he was like, "Dude, forgot the password after I changed it." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." Valuable lesson.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Another life lesson learned. So you and this guy, similar boats.
Yeah. I lost a RuneScape account. He lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but
I'm on a much different track than Kyle was. Like, I had a manager at Cisco tell me decades ago, probably, bad news doesn't get better with age. And there's a temptation, like when your project's behind schedule and stuff, to be like, "Oh, everything's going fine," and in your heart, you're like panicking, and you're hoping you can catch up in the next 2 weeks before it like goes live or is due or whatever. That's not the move. The move is open and honest communication all the way through.
Why?
because everyone would rather know
who?
you're behind schedule with.
It's not their business.
It's not.
Well, in this case, it's the manager, right? You're running behind schedule. Bad news doesn't get better with age, but I found that to be true all over the place. Like if I'm a kid and I've got something to admit to my parents, you don't just.
But he
sit
doesn't.
on that until due date. Well,
But
the thing
It's
is,
his money. Fuck
I disagree. Well, I hear you, but I think if he was honest, if he was like, you know what, I've learned, but I had 3 pretty stupid years.
Hey, mom and dad, I'm not very good with money. Just thought you should know. Oh, good to know, son. We'll be very careful around you from now on. And
We'll stop asking him for money.
Your father's business associates wanted to work with you, but now that we know this, I don't feel comfortable telling them lies.
So now here's the deal. The situation you'd be putting him in is just lying for years and years and years.
One
just
lie.
lie that, but
The
told
money's tied
again
up.
and again and
It's
again.
my money, and frankly, I don't feel comfortable ever discussing that money again. It'll come between us and our love.
Perfect.
That money is locked away from my retirement. I won't even be thinking about it until I'm in my late 50s. So please, mommy and daddy, don't ask me for money.
That's how I would handle that as well.
I agree.
There's no reason for me to let mommy and daddy know I'm a fuck up before I've even made up for it to myself.
But I'm pretty sure. Tucker, please go.
I'm just because I think that you are looking at it how I would deal with it if it was my parents and this was this situation, because we have a different relationship, and I may just be reading between the lines and completely wrong on this, but it just seems due to the way this was set up that the parents were not in the know of pretty much any of this, and that's like none of their business. As long as he doesn't even have to lie, like what Kyle said. He can just be like, okay, well, that money is for my retirement and it's tied up. No, I'm not comfortable loaning it to you, and I'm uncomfortable discussing like finances with you because I think it would damage our long-term relationship. I think that that's an adult conversation to have that doesn't deflect from him understanding his mistakes, but also keeps the parents where they were 3 years ago, which is
I also premature
involved.
ejaculated last week, Mom. Just thought you should know all my failings.
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like the alternative to coming clean is to just carry on this lie about, I've been making great investments. I've turned that 500.
Oh, he did say that. You're right.
Now,
if he said that, if he's talking about that, I forgot about that part. You're right.
He
should
been
not
telling
be
him
doing
he's
that.
been making great investments, right? For all they know, he turned this $500,000 into $1 million by now, and he really has $100,000. And like, you're just gonna carry that on. You're just gonna go into
that's different.
30s into your 40s, and now it's $7 million. Meanwhile, it's like 200,000. Like, dude, just
I see
fucking
what you
come
mean.
clean one time instead of maintaining this lie until your parents die.
No, better lie then. Okay. So if we
They're on your trail. You go, Mom, Dad, I'm gay. Boom, different discussion.
If it comes to it, fuck your dad.
you pull the
Nobody will
Kevin
see it
Spacey
coming.
maneuver. You go.
I don't think you had to fuck your dad to prove you were gay.
No, they weren't buying it, Taylor.
Yeah, I'll tell you this now. Those two in therapy, they're not talking about finances. Like, look at me, the master.
All right. So if you have in the scenario, if the case is that you have been bragging about winnings when you have tremendous losses, not the losses, just you threw the money away, you spent the money, then they might be like wondering why you're hoarding millions of dollars or something like that. But I still say this money should be spent frugally to support you while you get your education or start your business or whatever you want your life to be. You should spend some time and maybe talk to someone who's smarter than you about like how to apply that money and make that money like do a thing for you. Because I'm just saying, if you could get your education without working a side job, that would be great. And here's the thing. If you maintain the lie, there's no way you can get your education and ask your mom and dad for money now, right? So if you're going to come clean, you need to come clean and say, you know, have you read about crypto, Mom and Dad? No. Well, I really took a bath in the crypto market and I'm down to a third of my money left. I'm sorry. I was up to you do the math.
Good. This is a good lie. I like this lie. I think
Of
this
course
one's
it
the
is.
best.
You got
of the-
documentation.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
Look, here's where I
right
started losing money, Mom. 7,187,000, but I'm out and I'm ready to start fresh. I like this one. It's up
And
to
I'm
you
out
whether
of
you're
crypto.
morally correct or you want to take the easy route. I'm not an angel or a devil. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
explaining
do
your
you.
options.
But if you want your parents to respect you and look, and here's the thing.
His parents
And
are
you're
asking
not
him for money. They're going to
You're not worthy
bad
of
finances.
telling this lie and reaping its benefits if you haven't learned from your mistake.
That is true.
That's the only case when what I'm saying works. You're not worthy of telling the lie unless you have learned your lesson, because what the lie is doing, it's preventing them from not believing that you've learned your lesson and holding back. And like it's keeping them from 3 years from now when you're like, Mom and Dad, I want this business. Look at this. I'm putting my 150. If you jump in with your 25 for just the building permits, I can go. You know what they're going to say? I remember when you spent all your money on trips and women. They're going to be down for it if you do it that way. You got to learn from your mistake, though. You threw a lot of money away.
Yeah,
I would just
did
tell the
did-
truth. It's easy. I would say, listen, Mom and Dad. By the way, keep in mind, Mom and Dad are asking their children for money. Just be like, I'm not very good with
I
finances.
think he cares more about grandma.
I think it's a genetic
than-
condition.
What?
I tend to
Genetic.
spend money I don't have. I learned from the best Mom and Dad.
I'm a shopaholic.
Well, maybe it's not even that. Maybe Mom and Dad
Start
think the
shaking. You
kid,
haven't bought anything.
maybe Mom and Dad see the kid living a certain lifestyle while saying his money is invested and think that, like, Jesus, you're making that off of like your interest or your dividends or whatever. Like, how much are you worth,
Oh.
son? If they're in that sort of
Yeah.
mindset, we got to get them out of there. Because look, here's the thing. For all you know, here's what parents will do a lot when their kid is like that guy who's making millions or whatever. They'll throw themselves into irreversible debt, knowing they'll get the bailout from their kid. They won't ask you for the money because you wouldn't give it for them. You'd never give them $800,000. But if they drive up $800,000 worth of debt and say, son, I'm losing the house and all the cars unless you pay this off, you're going to do it.
That'd be a real piece of shit.
Tell
Wow,
the truth one
that
time.
is-
Don't maintain a lie for the rest of your life to your parents. It sucks.
Yeah, I see. I mean, man, that extra layer of having
Tell them when you make up for it. Tell
Makes
them
it more
when you
difficult.
I
make
didn't
up
even
for it.
think that I didn't even put into perspective if you are going to Europe and you bought a new car and you're living this nice life and your mom's like, or your grandma's like, where's the money coming from? And you're like, I'm making so much money on my investments. I did this. You're dumb as shit. But I still maintain it's not up to the parents to know any of that. It's your grandma or whoever gave you the stocks in the first place that you need to come clean with.
I assume
Don't
they
let
were
grandma
dead.
die without coming clean. You're gonna hate that.
Dude, you do not tell your look,
Tell her on her deathbed.
people are still
It's a happy median.
Right
as
grandma.
she's-
Right as she's
she likes-
fading out, you add a little tag to the end of her life.
Yoinks her back in.
Wait till
Well,
she's
hang on.
asleep.
I mean, look, if your grandma is the
something.
one if she's still alive, this
Loaded
grandma
on
who's
morphine.
giving
Yeah,
you
it
all
says
this
my
money,
grandma
Grandmother's.
and parents.
You read the chat.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was just listening to you.
That's
You
the
should
best
go
part.
back. Shit, go to your grandma and tell her you lost all the money because it was stolen from you, and cry a lot.
No.
And tell her, look, I'm so ashamed. Here, yeah, you gotta get the best part. No. Tell her your mom and dad have bled you dry because they're ashamed to ask grandma for money, and you need grandma to like.
Listen,
Now
Mom and
we're-
Dad
now
are going to
we're
lie
on the
about
money.
this. Mom and Dad are not going to admit that I gave all this money to them.
Oh my God.
If you
Listen,
can start
you need to carve
infighting-
your parents out of your life.
Kyle,
wait
you
for
muted.
grandma to die and reap the inheritance direct from the tap. You got to get them out of the way. Suckle the inheritance.
Get the fuck out of there.
Oh my God.
This is a tough. I'm having trouble even imagining spending that much money. That, like, he said cars,
He's
right?
spending about 10 grand a month.
That's
blowing.
th-
That's a
that's
lot.
a lot
cash.
of money to blow.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell him your father took all your money and for a Korean penis implant, and that he's tell grandma about it. And if she doesn't come up with $350, you're gonna kill yourself.
yeah, they're gonna take the implant back
Let's
in the dick
circle
with them.
back. If Dad doesn't jump on the lie, fuck him.
Yeah.
You go to your parents and you guys team up to tag team and feed grandma dry. It's the only way. it's
You're weak,
familial
old
fit.
man. I'm gonna do whatever I want with you. This ends when I decide it ends.
But to sum up my advice, dude, you don't want to carry on.
100% honesty from Woody.
Yeah, it just
I say
because you're gonna
75
the lie is only going to get bigger and worse. It's going to grow. It's going to be this tangled web that you've woven. It
Straight line, not a web. Straight line. I told you the lie. Woody's point is 100% honesty, and you feel clean, and it's all on the table. Jericho agrees with me. At least a 75% of a lie, admitting your faults, but maybe not admitting that you were foolish and awful with the money. Because I'm going to tell you, like, if a friend of mine, a family member, told me that they had blown their inheritance, I get that that's your money, but like, hey, what the
Makes you
fuck?
wary.
Like now I'm more likely to need to help you down the road when that was secure. You
Yeah.
were no longer my potential dependent, and now you're a potential dependent again because you were frivolous with your money. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, like,
I think
I
I'd
vote
come
for
down-
75% dishonesty
Oh,
up to
I'm the
and
other way.
including
I'm
100% dishonesty.
No, the way you said it, you suggested it almost like 75% on, or I guess depends on
Honesty,
your definition of
yeah.
honest. We're like,
Mhm.
definitely go in, and the fact he was bragging about it, that
Sucks.
makes it way fucking harder to get out of this. I do think he needs to be honest about the loss of money, but Kyle's on the money with don't say that you were going on European vacations and hookers, and they already know you did those things, but don't make it quite so obvious that that was the bulk of it. You know, maybe lean
You're a
more
bad
into
person.
it
That's
was
the point.
investing.
The problem here, dude, is you're kind of a bad person for what you did. You did some bad person shit. I'm
we're
not
not
saying.
tiptoeing around. You
I'm
did
not
some
saying that.
shitty stuff.
All right. I'm
If
not.
These
you're
are the
about to
fans
say,
that-
I'm not saying you're a bad person. You literally just said you're.
I want to
a bad
rephrase
person.
it though. I thought
Yeah, these
Okay,
are the
okay.
fans that pay us.
so it's not that you are a bad person, but you did the sort of thing that bad people do. And so somebody from the outside looking in who doesn't know you're a patron, who doesn't know you're a cool cat, they might think, holy shit, that's a bad guy. So
don't know the truth.
what
You
I'm
like ours on
saying
that
is
show.
don't let your parents know you did a bad guy thing. Lie and say you lost your ass in crypto. And then they're still in the same shape where they know where the finances stand. They know that you technically lost the money, but they don't know how foolish and bad guy-ish you were. They don't need to know
Yeah.
that. Like it's just like, look, every time I shit my pants, I don't fucking call my mom and tell her. She doesn't need to know how bad I am in life.
Yeah, I'd
right?
appreciate it if you stopped telling me.
Actually,
Dude, I show you the stains. They're impressive.
it's the beginning of
A
March.
butterfly.
Please become a $50 patron so at the end of March I can meet this foolish person and he can tell us the stories of the dumb shit he did with his money.
Dude, y'all need to
I bet there's some good stories. I
I
bet
want
you
to hear $375,000 worth of bad financial
Yeah.
decisions.
I'd love to
that
see
is
the
a
receipts.
whole nice
He's got a
middle-class house.
xylophone.
Right? He could have had a house. And
Yeah.
instead he has a car and some trips and hookers and
you get-
he just
you get a
channeled
money
his
to
inner
list.
Hunter Biden for a couple of years and now
Oh,
money's
shit.
gone.
You don't have Ukraine money, okay? The big guy isn't the president. You know?
Dude, that like it thinking about like just empathizing and putting myself in this gentleman's scenario gives me like stress of being like, oh my God, $350,000 I spent.
Wait.
Well, that I would be so. I
That's
honestly, I
three
would
and a
have
half
felt so
bathrooms.
guilty. Yeah, that's three and a half bathrooms if
That's
you're Woody.
4
That's-
bathrooms.
That is,
Yeah.
I could buy another house of similar
I think
quality.
these
Like, I
Multiple
can-
tubs, Woody.
You know what I
Stay
think really
there.
puts it? I think it really puts it into perspective when you understand that it's not $375,000 of income; it's $375,000 of savings. So just so you understand the magnitude of how much you fucked
Yeah.
up, if you tried and saved like 15% of your income, which is above what most people are ever going to be, like 10% is like really is pretty good. I think 10% for
I think
for the
15 is what you
average.
should be targeting. but
Okay,
anyway.
whatever. You target that, brother. If you make 6 figures a year to save up for that, that's going to take you like 20 years of work. You
Yeah.
fucked up 20 years of work worth.
Yeah.
That's
20
that's
years
like
of normal person work. But you're going to be an overachiever because you fucked up so badly right here.
yeah.
And you were a
True.
patron, and we set you straight.
if he was
Yeah.
if he
That's
was
a
like spending
year's
it on
worth of work,
drugs,
easy.
like if he's spending it on drugs, which who knows, maybe on his European vacations, like there's no way this guy was dabbling in like weed. Like that, if he was doing
Weed-
drugs,
I
he
have
was
a
doing the
crippling
real
weed
drugs.
addiction.
Yeah.
I spend hundreds a month,
Oh, I spend
$200 a month on this weed.
Yeah.
Dude, now that like,
do you
oh,
have
sorry,
another
go
one?
ahead.
That was fun.
I do have
enjoyed
another
that.
one. It's shorter. It says, in all your guys' experiences, is home ownership worth it anymore? I get conflicting information about it all the time nowadays. I'm interested in your take. Is it worth it to buy a house?
I don't know about like the
buy
market
a property. How about we do that? Because buying a house, I think homes suck. But I love my apartment that I own. So I think there's a difference because I would say no, don't buy
property.
No, not invest. I don't know if he's saying just to live. It sounds like he's saying, is it worth it to buy something and should I just rent forever?
We're talking
Which is
about
like an
residence.
insane
We're talking
question.
When he says, is home
residence.
ownership worth it anymore? I'm interpreting primary residence.
Right, which is an insane question. What do you mean? Instead of paying $3,000 or $2,000 or $1,000 a month to somebody else, you pay it into your property. So, like, yes, it's worth it. It should. Is it ever not?
I thought
worth
you were
it to
going
own?
the other way.
No. Is it? No, I'm saying it's like, is it ever not worth it to own?
Only if you've got a
property.
year to, if you've got a couple years to live, then you rent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. 5 years or under, I think, is like the break even, or maybe depending on your length of mortgage.
And if you care
Well, hopefully
about
this
what you
guy
leave
isn't at
behind,
that portion
I'd
of
want
life.
wreckage.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoy owning a house. Like it's everything. It's a double-edged
maintenance,
sword. Like,
the
yeah, I was going to
emergencies.
say the emergencies,
God.
the
Think
maintenance.
of all the
shit.
content he's got from contractors alone.
Yeah, my destroyed front yard that's still like I have to wait till spring to get that done. I
The
have
My water
freezing
heater's
pipe.
leaking right now.
my outdoor like AC unit, like the big machine broke. Like it would have like I had to get a whole new one. Like stuff just crops up that's super expensive. But like I also like that it's like this is my space. Like I like having my house. I'm kind of a bit of a homebody sometimes. I have everything's in its place and I have all my stuff. And like if I were renting, there would be a different feeling of like this is so fly by night. But with it being my home, it's like it's my decision and I want to live here for many years. Like this is my place I live.
Taylor-
like I really
Taylor
like that.
sent me a link the other day. It's to like one of the houses in his neighborhood. He's like, "Hey, you could always come to Missouri." I'm like,
Yeah. We could come over and have barbecues. I'll smoke you meat.
yeah, could just
We could like
move right up.
slowly become gay.
You could stay in my
slowly.
I'll
Slowly.
smoke your meat.
Yeah, I was like, man,
Oh,
you're
that's
really
what I
laying on the end.
forgot.
Let's all
We're
have
on-
gay sex in mine.
I got distracted. Thank you for bringing up the gay sex because you've reminded me of Finster.
It's a tent pole.
Yeah, Finster's
Wait,
OnlyFans.
I don't want to leave the homeownership topic without.
Finster's
finishing
OnlyFans
it.
is up tonight, I think, on the 3rd. But yeah, back to home ownership.
It's tomorrow.
It's a stupid question he asked, but because of course it is, unless you're literally dying.
While I would say.
That's why I
Um,
said the difference being if it's like owning a home, I just prefer owning an apartment because there's less things for me to deal with, but there's still a lot of bullshit and things that I don't like and not like the privacy that you can get from having a home and like
Yeah.
a yard, depending on
That's
where you're
great.
living, is incredible.
No
Like,
shared walls is like it revolutionized after living in apartments for so many years, being like, oh, I didn't even realize how much I hated hearing the neighbors
never-
through the walls.
So
Oh,
I
like
haven't
making
been in an
noise.
apartment.
I
I haven't been in a.
I don't.
Go ahead.
All right. So when I lived in apartments, I thought I was really considerate of my neighbors. I didn't play the TV loud. I didn't like walk loud. I didn't even like slam my kitchen cabinets or anything. Like I just tried to be a considerate neighbor. Now I'll thump around like an elephant if I want to. I own this whole house. Like I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say. Like I haven't been in an apartment that had shared walls since I was 18 or 19, and so like since then I've just been in houses from one to another, unless I'm on a vacation or something weird like that. But now I'm just too loud. Like I sing all day. Like I'm just making songs up and singing stupid songs to the dogs. I'm like, you're the floofiest of fellows, the prettiest. And he's just like, like looking at me.
I am
Good
pretty
time. He's like,
floofy.
I'm
You're
part of the
right.
gang. You're just,
But
me and
like,
my owner are having fun.
I'll have the windows open and I'll realize like I'm screaming some fucking like version of a Lion King song that involves my dog's name, and then I know the neighbors can hear me. But if I were in an apartment, it'd be awful. I wouldn't do that stuff. I wouldn't
You
want
wouldn't
to
be able to
bother
sing.
people.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Dave
sing.
Ramsey has this thing where he says like the new status symbol should be the paid off mortgage and not the BMW, right? And he's like, pay off your mortgage. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Pay off the mortgage and tell me if your walls don't seem a little cleaner and whiter. Tell me if your grass doesn't feel a little softer under your bare feet when your mortgage is paid off. If you don't like owning your home, then you can always go back into debt. It's easy to find someone to get you a new mortgage, a new home equity loan. Just pay it off and see if you don't find that to be a better lifestyle without the man's foot on the back of your neck pushing you down all the time. If you rent, you'll never get to that stage.
The thought that I've kind of had as I get a little older, I turn 30 this month, right? And I'm like, okay, what is the end goal in life, right? You save up so you can retire, buy a property, buy somewhere to live, and like buy a vehicle. Those three things, everything else is kind of auxiliary needs and benefits, and like that's kind of cool. But like your main money spends are there. So if you remove the stress of having rent or rent payment or having another landlord or something else, I can only imagine that's got to be the best feeling in the world. Like, because that's truly like 1/3 of many people's income going to their rent or to their home stuff. So once that's gone, think of how many more things you can buy every month.
It would be like getting another job. Like it'd be like getting another over part-time
Taylor,
job.
how many jobs are you going to take from the population? Are you getting a third job at this point?
I'm gonna keep.
You're so fucking selfish.
I'm gonna take jobs. I'm Ubering people.
He took her
but I don't even do it. I just pick up the rides and then stay home. I'm on my couch picking up rides, giving people false hope. Hey, look, Danny at the bar thinks he's being picked up, dumbass.
$5 cancellations.
That's my life, wasting people's time on Uber. That does sound kind of fun. Like I bet it wouldn't last long.